Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra the TBR Zero, and today we're figuring out what books I'm reading for Bucket List-athon 2025. No, we're not. Let's try this one more time. I am participating in Bucket List-athon 2024. This is a readathon hosted by Dani Dabbles, and it's the second year that she's hosting it. It's the first time, though, that she has incorporated a very aesthetically pleasing game board to help us get through our 2024 goals before 2025 arrives. I won't provide too many details regarding the readathon itself, because really what you should do is go check out Dani's channel, watch her announcement video. It will be linked below. She'll have all of the important information that you need to know, explaining all of the prompts, and including all of the necessary links that you need in order to participate in the readathon to the fullest. What I can tell you is that the readathon doesn't start until the 15th of November. It does go for 4 weeks, so it ends on the 15th of December, and I'm really happy about that. I just completed, or I'm about to complete, TBR Harvest, so I really enjoy the idea of having a 2-week break, of just having a 2-week reprieve before I get back into readathon mode. Now, that doesn't mean I plan on going easy on myself when it comes to Bucket List-athon. With Dani's readathon, she has provided easy mode and hard mode, and I, of course, have decided to go with hard mode. It comes with 10 roles, and also, you may have noticed, there are 4 places that you may choose to start in each corner of the board, and there's no finish line. There's no end square telling you that the game is over. Instead, you do have to decide whether you're doing easy mode or hard mode, because then you are allotted a certain number of roles you have to complete. So along with the 10 roles associated with hard mode, I also have to decide which theme I want 50% or more of my books for this readathon to be associated with. I've decided to go with new releases, so that's the corner I'm going to start with, and that means that 50% of the books I put on my TBR have to be new releases. They have to have come out in 2024. The reason why I chose new releases as my main corner is because there are so many books I want to read in anticipation of the Goodreads Choice Awards, and there's just a lot of books that I recently borrowed from the library that came out this year that I still have yet to get to, and I'm chomping at the bit. Not to mention, a good number of the books I've bought this year in 2024 are new releases, and I still have that goal of reading every single book I buy in 2024. The one obstacle I'm definitely going to have to keep in mind by doing hard mode is the colors of the squares I land on, because one punishment that exists within Dani's game is that if you land on the same color 3 times, not in a row, but just in general across your 10 rolls, you have to add an additional roll to your total. So for instance, if you end up landing on the dark green squares 3 times, that means you don't have to roll 10 rolls, you actually now have 11. I'm kind of nervous because, if I'm going to be honest, I have so many priority reads, but I also don't want to overwhelm myself with too many books. So if I keep landing on the same colors and keep having to add rolls, we're going to be in trouble. But I have a cute little ghostie and my D6 handy, so let's get rolling. Hello, this is Leandra from the future. I'm going to be grabbing my favorite ghost of 5. Isn't he so cute? Putting it on the new releases corner because that's my goal, and I'm going to roll my D6. Okay, a 4, not too bad. You can see I'm contemplating TBR, favorite author, old read, physical TBR, the options, and not liking all of them. So, yep, I pick them up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've gone with favorite author. All right, we started strong. I ended up rolling a 4, and I had a few directions in which I could have gone, but I decided to move my ghost and land on favorite author. This is also a dark maroon square, so I had to keep that in mind. I checked it off, and with a favorite author, you can go in so many different directions, but obviously that means it's an author that you have read from before, that you're familiar with, so that does narrow the pool a little bit. And what I've decided to do is play it safe by choosing a book that fits not only my new releases requirement, but it's also a book I purchased in 2024. So I'm happy that I get to put this book on my list, and that is The Queen of Poisons by Robert Thorogood. This is the 3rd book in the Marlowe Murder Club series. I have really enjoyed the first 2 books in that series. Both of them were very easy 4 stars for me, and that's why I ended up being able to pre-order this book. And in saying that, I pre-ordered this book and it's still on my TBR. So I am so happy that I have an excuse to finally read it, and it's going to be really comforting for me. I really enjoy the dry British humor that you find in Robert Thorogood's books, and it also is visible in Death in Paradise, a TV series that I love, also written by this author. So I'm really excited that I can finally add it to my list and take it off of my purchased books for the year. It's time for roll number 2. Grabbing my die. Or dice. 3. Okay, I could go in literally any direction, remember, because there is no end. It doesn't really matter. Okay, buddy, read. Community card. I could pull a community card. 1, 2, 3. Last chance. I do like that. I like the idea of the last chance one. So 1, 2, 3. All right, that's 2 maroons already. Rule number 2, I got a 3, and I'm sure quite a few of you were like, Leandra, what are you doing? Why did you go backwards? Because I was going in one direction. I originally was thinking I could go from one corner to the next, but I didn't like where my ghost was gonna land, and so I kind of backtracked and decided to land on last chance. I know that's another risk because it's another maroon square. So if I land on a 3rd maroon, then I already know I'm going to have to do 11 rolls instead of 10. So we'll see if I end up regretting that. But I am actually quite happy that I landed on last chance, because there are a few books within my purchased books for 2024 actually, in which I've kind of wondered if I should unhaul them or try to figure out a different solution rather than reading them or something to that effect. I don't know. I'm scrambling. I'm panicking at this point because we only have about 2 months in the year and I have so many books I have to read from my purchase list. But what I decided to do is choose The Division Bell Mystery by Ellen Wilkinson. This comes out of the British Library Crime Classic series in the US. It's published by Poisoned Pen Press. And the reason why I think it fits for last chance is because I have started this book twice, and both times I just wasn't in the right space to read it. I really liked it both times that I read it. I just found myself not gravitating towards it. I think I was juggling too many books at a time, and those books took priority. Plus, this was actually a read for the She Done a Book Club. We had to read this for research, but in the end, I ended up finding a way to research the book, research the author, without actually having to finish the book. So I know that it's the fact that I know I no longer have to read it. That's why I stopped caring. So this is a last chance. Come on, Leandra, you gotta read this book. All right, it's time to roll again, and the last thing I want is a 3 or a 4, because I'm avoiding those maroon squares. Ooh, a 1. Well, don't have to worry about avoiding them. Landed on TBR. So that means I then have to go to my must-reads cards, pull from there. Ooh, I wonder what I'm gonna get. First Lie wins a thriller. Yeah, I am starting to regret the fact that I went backwards because we rolled on a 1, and at this point I'm kind of worried I'm not even going to make it to all 4 corners, because that's actually another requirement if you do hard mode. I don't think I mentioned that in my introduction, but I have to make sure I hit or pass every single corner, and I don't know, if I keep getting 1s, I may have to add rolls just to make sure I make the distance. But we got a 1. That means I landed on TBR, so I have to pull a card for must read. And my must reads are all books that I believe, I'm predicting, have a good chance of being on the Goodreads Choice Awards list, one of the lists. I've included a few from various genres. For instance, you're going to see mystery thriller, of course, because that's the genre, the 2 genres category that I'm the most invested in. But I also included horror, I included sci-fi, and I think that those are the 3. I did end up adding fantasy too. So you'll see that depending on what ends up coming up when I pull the cards. But anyways, I had to pull my first card, and I'm not gonna lie, I pulled a book that I'm really not that interested in reading, but I think that it is good for me that this book came up. First Lie wins because it's so popular. It will obviously be on the Goodreads Choice Awards for mystery thriller. I just don't know if I'm gonna like it. So I'm kind of nervous. So if I was going to force myself to read it, it's thanks to Bucket List-athon. This was the only way I was actually gonna read this book. Okay, now I really have to get a big number because Yeah. And I got one. I ended up landing on a 5. Now I could go forwards in 2 different directions, or I could go back the way I came. But remember, I want to cross that life corner. I have to do it for hard mode. So as you can see, I've decided to do that, and I landed on community card. That means I have to pull a community card. There's a few options, like I think I did like 10 possibilities, but the one I'm doing is support a booktube newbie. All right, so after getting that one, a bit depressing, I did come up with a big number. I rolled a 5, and that landed me on a community space. So another card had to be pulled, but instead I had to pull it from my community deck, and I ended up getting a recommendation, a suggestion from Dani. I incorporated a few of my own ideas, a few of hers. Depending on where we end up, I'll be sure to reveal all of the cards that I created, just so you know what could have been an option for me. Or should I have done that before? Oh well, I'm gonna show it to you afterwards. So stick around to the end if you want to see what cards I could have gotten, and if you think that this was the best TBR I could have received. So anyway, I pulled a community card, and I ended up getting support a booktube newbie, which is really exciting. I can't wait to do that. I'll obviously have to do some searching on YouTube for the booktube newbie tag, and yeah, see who I can meet along the way. All right, my next goal is to cross over the series corner. Oh no, I do feel bad for hitting my little ghosty with the dice. Oh, but I got a 4, which is great, because that's just enough for me to cross over. To be honest, I probably would have preferred a 3, because then I could have just done a series book in general, because as you can see, I just pass it and I land on finished series, which, you know, is not my strong suit at all. With roll number 5, we're halfway. Hopefully we're halfway. I ended up landing on finish a series, and also an update. I did pass the life corner and I passed the series corner. So now I only really have one more left to hit before at least that requirement is out of the way. Finish a series is actually really bad for me because I'm someone who's terrible about continuing series, let alone finishing them. And the fact that finishing a series means it has to be the final book in the series suggests that I'm someone who actually does have a final book in a bunch of series to pick from, but I really don't. I can't really think of any series in which I have a final book to read except for one, and that's the one in my hands, and it's the book I've been avoiding ever since I pre-ordered it back in February. So I guess it's meant to be. Again, Dani's looking out for me in kind of a tough love way. So the book I decided to read is The Cursed Rose by Leslie Vedder. This is a YA fantasy reimagining of the fairy tale Sleeping Beauty, and it's also a gender flip on that fairy tale. I promise I really do enjoy the first 2 books. I really enjoyed them when I first read them. I just feel like I've changed as a reader, and now I'm not really as interested in this content. So at least we'll start it. Dani isn't saying you have to finish the book in order to, you know, count it for that role. I have to start it, and if anything, maybe I can replace it. If I end up not being able to finish this, maybe by the time I have to do Bucket List-athon, there will be another series in which I've got a final book to read. We'll see how it goes. It's really bad when I'm already preparing to fail, but here we are. I also completely forgot to mention the fact that Division Bell Mystery, I did buy that this year, so that's going to be a purchased read for 2024. First Lie Wins is a new release for 2024, so again, obviously that works because every single card in my must-read card pile is a 2024 release. So the more I pull from that deck, the more likely I'm going to easily hit the 50% requirement for hard mode. And then for The Cursed Rose, this was a 2024 release as well, and on my purchase TBR. So I am killing it with these 2 goals. Roll number 6, here we come. And a 1. All right. Well, I can only go backwards or forwards, and I'm going forwards, meaning I've touched on a second TBR square. It's also my second light green one, if you're keeping track at home. So let's see, what book am I being forced to read? The Book of Doors. Ooh, Dani's gonna be so excited. And then my excitement depletes because I ended up rolling another 1. And what's really weird is it's the second time I've rolled a 1 and the second time that 1 has landed me on a TBR square. So I did have to pull again from my must read pile. Plus, this is the second color that I have hit twice now. It's a light pale green, and the community space that I landed on, that was also light green. So now I've got 2 dark maroons and 2 light, like mossy greens. I feel as though I'm gonna have to roll again. That's just, it's what I'm accepting at this point, but we'll see how it goes. I pulled a must read card, and this one, I can just imagine Danny squealing, kicking her feet, because I did put this card in there just for her, and I'm shocked that I landed on it, to be completely honest, because there were so many other titles in this deck, and it was the only fantasy that I put in the deck. So it's meant to be. I will be reading the Book of Doors, and this is currently Danny's favorite book of the year, so a lot of pressure for me to also enjoy it, but she's never really led me astray before, so I feel confident that I'm going to enjoy it, I'm going to appreciate it, and it'll be yet another book that I think I could, consider for the Goodreads Choice Awards in fantasy, because I already feel pretty confident that there's going to be at least 3 books, weirdly, that I've read in fantasy this year that will be on the list, so to have a 4th book, who am I? I am a fantasy reader.
Physical TBR corner, we're coming for you. Ooh, and we got a big one. My first 6, actually. So good job, us. We have quite a few directions we can go, but as I said, we're aiming towards the physical TBR corner. So I'm kind of counting to see what I could really do. And the best one is for me to repeat. So I will be doing favorite author again, and that means punishment time.
Again, we made up for a very low roll and following it with a big one, my first ever 6. And the 6 actually allowed me to travel quite a bit of distance, and I could have gone multiple different directions. And again, you guys are probably like, Leandra, what are you doing? Like, you're torturing yourself, because I decided to re-land on favorite author. By doing that, I also accepted that I made the decision to land on another dark maroon space. So at this point, I'm rolling an 11th roll. Here we are. But every other option just didn't seem very advantageous for me. Like, I just didn't think I could work with it in order to complete my goal of 2024 reads and 2024 purchases. And also, because I've already landed on this author, like favorite author square, I've decided to slightly change the prompt a little bit. So this is a favorite person in my life, someone I really respect, a very intelligent, motivated human being that I've learned from, like, in so many different ways, that I am just grateful that this person's in my life and I can call her my boss. So she is a favorite person. She's not a favorite author yet, but I am going to be reading A Body Made of Glass by Caroline Crampton. She is the creator and host of She Done It, and this was another book I pre-ordered. I was so excited to support her, and yet I still haven't read the book, so I'm a bad friend. I am going to blame it on the fact that I really haven't picked up any nonfiction this year. I think I've read maybe 2 or 3, if I'm being completely honest, but because it's Nonfiction November, I also had the goal of at least including 1 nonfiction book, and I know that this readathon bleeds into December, but still. So yeah, I'm going to read this for a, favorite author. It's also a 2024 new release and a 2024 purchase, so this is working out really well for me.
Okay, I think this is is it 7 or 8? I got a 5, either way, because I'm not keeping track, and I am aiming to go across the physical TBR corner. I would rather not land on it, to be honest, and I've decided to land on another TBR square, so I'm pulling another must read. Ooh, I wonder what I got. So Thirsty, a horror.
Roll number 8, I got a 5, and I landed on another TBR square. You may have noticed the color. It is light green. So I now have a 12th roll that I have to do. It's one of those things where you have to juggle the idea of doing squares that don't really work for you in the name of only having to roll 10 times, or would it be better for you to simply bite the bullet and land on a square that is working better for you? And these TBR squares, they are working better for me because they're allowing me to reach my goals. So I decided to do what I had to do. I pulled another must-read card, and this one, very interestingly, is a third different genre category. So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I actually ended up reading Cackle a month ago. Was it only a month ago? Oh my gosh, time flies. So I read Cackle a month ago, and I saw that So Thirsty just came out. A lot of people are suggesting it could be on the Horror 2024 Goodreads Choice Awards, so that's why I put it on the list. And I think that's going to be a really great popcorn read for me, actually. I put myself on hold. I'm crossing my fingers it comes in time, at least for that 4-week period in which we are having this readathon. If it doesn't, what I might have to do is simply pull again. So when it comes time where I just have to complete this prompt, if I need to, I will just pull from the cards again and read a different book, because I don't know if it's going to come in time. Meanwhile, the Book of Doors, I have a 2-week wait on Libby right now, and it's actually, weirdly enough, it's on Hoopla. Like, I looked and it was a book club pick for Hoopla. So Danny, that's probably why you were so surprised to see the Book of Doors having as many ratings as it did, because Hoopla users were reading the ebook or reading the audiobook for the Hoopla book club. But I digress. So for the moment, we have added So Thirsty to my list of Goodreads, potential reads. And I also now have 12 rolls. That means I've got 4 rolls left.
Okay, roll 9 out of 12. Let's see what I get. Oh, 1, classic. Oh my gosh, that's like my 3rd one. So no options besides going forward to physical TBR or number generator. So I ended up deciding to grab all 8 must reads that I had after rolling all of my reads. So there is a book missing from this, but it is what it is. I ended up taking my D8 because there were 8 cards. I rolled and I got a 3. So what I decided to do was count down my list to 3. So I go 1, 2, 3, and that's the book I'm going to have to read, which is This Cursed House, another horror.
Okay, so for roll number 9, I got another 1. I really don't understand. Why am I so bad at rolling dice? I got a 1, meaning I landed on number generator, and Danny provided a handful of ways that you could participate in this prompt. The way I decided to do it, as you saw, was lay out all of my must-read cards. I had 8, so I grabbed a D8, rolled it, got a 3, and the book that I ended up landing on is This Cursed House. I'm really excited about this one because it's a new release. Some people have predicted that it might be on the Goodreads Choice Awards for horror, mainly because there's been a lot of buzz about it. I believe it was an Aardvark option for the Aardvark subscription box. I'm not sure if it was on Book of the Month, but pretty much I've just seen this title be mentioned a lot, so I grabbed it as soon as I could from my library, and now I'm like, I need to read it. So I'm really happy that it's become a priority for Bucket List-a-thon. I'm excited because I think there's going to be a haunted house, or at least a cursed family residing within a house, a family estate of some sort, but I'm nervous because it also is described as Southern Gothic, and I am someone who actually enjoys Gothic literature, but when it comes to Southern Gothic, that's just a completely different can of worms. I know that both of them have the word Gothic in it, but Southern Gothic is very different, and I haven't really had good luck with it, so I'm kind of nervous.
Roll number 10. Let's see what we get. A 5. I swear, every time I get a 1, I then get a 5 or a 6. So, where do I decide to go? Nope, don't want the backlist. I do want to pass through that new releases because I can't really remember if I actually have to or not, because that's the corner I started at, but just in case, I am going to pass across new releases and land on another TBR square. I know you guys think I'm actually obsessed, but oh, Leandra, come on, where's the suspense? Put the card back down. Let's try that again. Okay, so I wonder what I'm going to get. Ooh, drum roll please. Well, it's Service Model, my first sci-fi.
Roll number 10. should have been my last, but it's not because of the punishment. We've got 2 more to go after this. I ended up rolling a 5, and I decided to land on another TBR square. I know it seems crazy that I'm seeking out these cards, but they're actually the books I really want to read right now. So I think that the risk of pulling a card and having a book chosen for me is really nicer than me landing on a prompt and me just deciding, okay, what actually fits. So I like that the decision is kind of out of my hands. It makes it just easier for me in general. So I did end up pulling a card and I landed on service model. So again, I have another book for a different category. Actually, all 4 categories that I put in the must-read stack have been represented. I have 1 mystery thriller, I do have 2 horror, I've got a fantasy, and now I've got a sci-fi. I mean, there really couldn't have been a better scenario, plus I really do want to read Service Model. You might have noticed I do have a bookmark. I have started it, but then with TBR Harvest, I just didn't have the time and it didn't fit the prompts that I needed to complete. So it's just sat on my currently reading, and I'm itching to get back to it. In fact, I'm kind of happy that I may feel the need to restart it. Not to mention, there is a new Adrian Tchaikovsky that I really want to try, Alien Clay. I have myself on hold for it at my library, and I'm just waiting for it to get through processing, have the library send it to me, and then I have that on my TBR too.
Roll number 11 out of 12. We only got 1 more left. And another 5, another big number. So that means, oh, come on, we're gonna, oh, there we go. I was like, are we going to focus or what? Okay, let's figure out where I'm going. Okay, 5-star prediction, intimidating read, a treat for you. Well, that sounds really good to me. So I ended up choosing that.
And then we got to my bonus rolls. I rolled a 5 and I landed on a treat for yourself, which I am very excited about. I have a book in my hand, but I am willing to allow this to be up to interpretation when the time comes to fulfill it. So this could be a life prompt where I do an activity. It could be a very cozy activity that has nothing to do with reading. So if I need that, I am allowing future Leandra to replace this book with a cozy activity to treat myself and give myself a break from reading. But I've decided to put a book on this TBR just in case, because it's also a purchased book that I really do need to read before 2024 ends, and that is The World Without Us. This is an environmental nonfiction that discusses the possibility of how the world would react, the natural world would react, if humans were no longer on Earth. So yeah, a little bit depressing and weirdly inspiring because we are the worst. I mean, honestly, the Earth would be better off without us, but I'm gonna put that to the side. I ended up buying this on a whim because it was gravitating towards me. There's a nonfiction that I really loved last year, Islands of Abandonment, and this does remind me of that. And as you may have noticed in my most recent Q3 check-in about my purchase reads, this is the floppiest, most satisfying book, so I really just want to read it. And like I said, I think this is treating myself because this is an area in literature that I've kind of abandoned in 2024, not intentionally. I really love nature writing, and I've only read maybe 2 or 3 books in that category this year, and it's really sad. I'm not talking about climate fiction. I'm not talking about fiction that highlights the environment, highlights, flora, fauna. I'm talking about nonfiction. So yeah, I'm treating myself because I'm kind of going back to my roots that I really haven't, been nurturing lately. Also, Danny, if you're watching this, I realized that I've hit the light green color 4 times. Do I have to roll again? I'm willing to roll a 13th bonus after this recording, but I kind of realized I didn't know if after the max 3, every time we hit the color, we then have to roll again. That's my bad, so just let me know if that's something I actually have to do.
My final roll. At least we hope it's my final one. A 4. Well, I could go in multiple directions. Comfort read. Series, backlist. Man, you'd think, but apparently the board really wants me to hit that one. However, if you're looking at the color, you may realize I'm going to avoid it because I've already hit it twice and I really don't want to roll a 13th time if I can help it. So what I do is I do choose comfort read, but if you stick around, you will get to see what must reads and community cards I could have gotten.
Our final roll! There were no more additional punishments. Thank gosh. I rolled a 4. I ended up getting the comfort read, a really lovely way to end it. I'm not gonna lie, with the 2 punishment rolls, the fact that I got a treat for you and a comfort read, are they really punishments? I don't think so. So for this one, I've decided to treat comfort read as a genre that I find comforting. And it's also a genre I also feel as though I haven't gotten to read as much as I wanted to in 2024, which is quite sad. So I've decided to read a 2024 purchase, a Marjorie Allingham Golden Age detective fiction mystery, More Work for the Undertaker. This is going to be a real comfort for me, especially because I typically like to read Golden Age as physical reads, so I won't be seeking an audio, and I think it'll let me slow down, enjoy the atmosphere of a Golden Age mystery, and I'm really excited that I finally have another excuse to read this. I mean, I feel like I've said that a lot of these books I've been meaning to read and I just haven't had a good reason to do it. So thank you so much, Danny. I'm really excited. All of these books are books that I do genuinely want to read, except for The Cursed Rose. But that one, I'm forcing myself. You know what? I will take it. The fact that I have 11 books from the 12 prompts, because one of them was a community square, and only one of them is something I feel very forced to read, because all the other 10 books are ones I do want to get through, I'm excited about. I'm excited to finally be able to prioritize. This is a winning group. I'm really excited. Again, be sure to check out Danny's channel. I'll have her linked below, as well as her announcement video, so you can sign up, have fun with all of us, and see how much of your own TBR you can focus on. On that note, I did end up doing some math. So of the 11 books that I'm reading, 8 of them are 2024 new releases, and 6 of them are for my purchase TBR. So I'm over the moon. I'm so excited that this worked out so well for me. All right, thanks so much, friends, and thank you to my Manor guests. I really do appreciate you. We also ended up getting a new witness recently, Tay. Thank you for, joining the Manor, and I appreciate you as a witness, because there are going to be some deaths, and we need people to unfortunately witness those deaths. So thank you for volunteering. Throughout this video, I did talk about my goal of trying to read every single book I buy this year. So if you're interested in seeing how I'm doing, I did recently post my quarter 3 check-in. I'll have it here, and I really do hope to see you all in the next one. Bye.